Today I want to talk about the dice that could change everything about your table and how we could all learn something from pickup basketball as it relates to Dungeons and Dragons. Thanks for checking out New Dice. So before we get into some thoughts I have on this hobby and something I think is missing from this hobby that we could try to add, and maybe this channel will eventually get to the point to add it, and before we get into the dice that could change your table, I did want to say a shout out to Shane, my very first subscriber and only subscriber to New Dice. That meant the world to me to have a subscriber. Anyone who commented on my first video, that just was crazy in this world where there's so much content out there for D&D that you took a minute to check out this channel means the world. Today I wanted to talk about something that kind of relates to my world where I came from before the TTRPG world that I'm in now that I really enjoy, and figure out a way to maybe mesh those. But one thing that I noticed watching a lot of content on YouTube, taking in a lot of stuff, whether it's podcasts or, like I said, videos, is that there is a sect of this hobby, and there's nothing wrong with it, but that is an argumentative group. And I think that's anywhere in any hobby you have. People love to argue about stuff. That's just a thing. But I do feel like in this world, it can lead to, people not wanting to play games as much because they get mad about certain developers or how certain games are played. And it could be a turnoff to people, new people, where I was, just a few years ago. It can be disorienting when you're trying to get into a hobby and that's happening. So that's something that I've noticed, and I'm hoping that, on this channel, as I've talked about before, the core of everyone being here and the core of everyone on YouTube looking up videos about Pathfinder, Dungeons and Dragons, index card RPG, etc., is that we all like the games and we all like to play the games. And sure, there's mechanics we don't like in specific games, but at the heart of the issue, we want to play tabletop RPGs. And this brings up something that comes from a life of mine that's separate of the tabletop role-playing games. I grew up playing basketball. I love basketball. It's like my favorite thing in the world. And one thing that I wish I could bring into, and we could bring into this world, and this would be like my motivation to those of you who are GMs, who are good at it, and maybe know a lot of different systems, and have time to get other people to fall in love with this hobby, is something that I learned in basketball. Now, you may have your TTRPG group that is working through a big campaign, and it's super exciting, and you've been doing it for a year, you've been doing it for 2 years, maybe more, and it's so great, and you're so into your character, and you're so into the world and the story that's unfolding with your group, and it's so cool and magical, and it's something you'll never forget. Totally agree with that. I would relate that to playing in a season of the sport you like, whether it's soccer, softball, basketball, whatever it might be. If you're a sports person, you get into a rec league of some kind and you play through a 3-month season, and every week your team is getting better. It's improving. You're learning more about your team, and it's really fun, great bonding. And, it ends in a story that you have about your season. But something that I love about sports, and for me it was basketball, that I wish we had in the TTRPG world, that I hope maybe this channel can bring to the table, is pickup basketball. And what this is, for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about right now, is you show up to a random park. Maybe you go to your local gym and there's basketball games happening. And you show up, you don't know the people who are there, or maybe you and a buddy show up and you just jump into a game. And you get thrown in with 3 other guys you don't know. And throughout that afternoon, playing basketball for a couple hours, you play a handful of basketball games that are all with people that you're just maybe meeting for the first time. Your team may change 3 or 4 times throughout the time you're playing, and it's such a great experience. And it's one of my favorite ways to enjoy basketball, and I've made lifelong friends in that world. Some of my favorite memories of basketball come from that world. And every time I go and I play pickup and I come home on Monday nights, I think, oh, I wish that existed with D&D or the TTRPG community. I wish there was a spot that you just go to and there's a game master who rolls the ball out to whoever shows up and you just play. And it's just in that moment, that night, and it's a different system. Maybe you play Daggerheart one time. Maybe you play Shadow Dark another time. You play D&D. And some nights it's going to hit for you and you're going to say, I loved that system and that was a great night. And another night you may play a system you don't really like, but you're probably going to find some fun in it, especially knowing that this isn't locked into, well, now I have to play 8 more sessions in this world that I don't really like. I wish that was something we had, and it's really something that I hope if this channel ever grows and this community grows, it's something that I would love to throw out there is get some DMs. Adventures League with D&D, for those of you who are familiar with it, kind of open this up a little bit with the way that system works, but it's D&D every time. But I would love to get the pickup basketball of TTRPGs going and just have games a certain night a week where you can show up, grab your dice, grab a character sheet, and play through something that exists in that moment, and it starts and finishes all in that 2 or 3 hour chunk of time. And then you reset and do it again next week. All right, there's that. It's something that I'd motivate people to get into and try, but I think it would be beneficial. I think it'd be cool to try a bunch of different systems. There you go. Let's head to the table, shall we? What is the dice that can change your table? Now, you may already be doing something like this at your table, and I'm excited for you for that. Again, I'm newer to this hobby, so I have not experienced as much as a lot of people that I see on YouTube who are 20, 30-year GMs, 30-year players. They've done everything. This may be something for newer GMs, newer players to try to bring to their table if it's not there already. So we got, for my Tuesday night D&D group, we got this die right here. It is a bigger die than normal. It's a 20-sided die that would be about the size of an orange, an apple, and it's really cool, and we use this die at our table every week. What is it? Well, it's a group inspiration die. And again, you may have something like this at your table. If you don't, I'd recommend it. We put this die out on the table at the beginning of the night. Well, to be fair, we don't necessarily get access to it. In order for us to unlock this die, we sit down at the table and the group recaps what happened in the previous session. Now, this is great for a lot of reasons. One, it kind of forces you to take notes in your sessions so that you know what's happening. And I think that helps you dive into the game and the story a little bit more. Two, it's a very fun interactive thing between the players to kind of get into, let's get back into the mode of we were at work all day, we were with family for the last week. Let's get back into the mode of this campaign by getting ourselves caught up to where we are right now. It also helps the GM at our table because he doesn't have to remember absolutely everything. He can remember a lot of it, but we will help him stay in touch with what happened at the previous session, which I think is very valuable. And if we do a good enough job, we get enough stuff out there to his liking, he takes the big die, he reaches over his DM screen and plops down this die on the table. And then at any point during the night, during our 3-hour session, anyone can use it to re-roll any D20 roll. No matter what the D20 roll is, you roll bad, you can use it. And it's really fun because it does bring some bonding between players. Hey, I used this die last week, so maybe someone else uses it this week. It's fun. Someone will roll a bad one. They'll kind of look up and kind of get a feel for, do we go for the group inspiration die? And then whenever that roll happens, it feels so heightened because we're all excited about what's going to happen with this big group inspiration die. I'd highly recommend bringing it to your table. It's a really cool thing to do. Even if you don't have the big die, I think you can get them from anywhere between $7 and $20, depending on your local game store or what you find online. So they're not ridiculously expensive, but you could even do it with just a normal die. For the longest time, our DM Matt had a cool metal die that he used, but then we got him this bigger die because it was just gaudy and kind of over the top, and it's really fun to roll. So I'd recommend it. So that would be what happened at my table that I hope maybe you can bring to your table. Thanks again for watching. Like and subscribe this channel. If you like it, leave your comments below. I would ask this. One thing I've been getting into is reading or trying to read different books, core rule books, players guides, GM guides, books that are super cool in the TTRPG world. So if you have a suggestion of a book that you read and you just loved it, for inspiration, for rules, for the artwork, whatever it was, leave it in the comments and I'd love to go see if I can snag it, get the PDF, and check it out because that's something I'm really into right now as I try to broaden my horizons in this world. Thanks again for watching New Dice.